The process is that when I started as a painter, began as a painter, and I felt that painting would always be there for me. It would always be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I jumped from one media to the next medium. And when I was in graduate school, I began doing boxes, like Joseph Cornell.
Yes, right.
And not like his, but they intrigued me.
Mm-hmm.
And found objects intrigued me. The treasure hunt for the objects,
yeah.
it became my life, practically.
Really, yeah.
And so I began really seriously doing that, doing what I call constructions.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I went from constructions to collage, always painting in between.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly, incrementally, I would say, my style developed. It wasn't just that it was drastic. It just slowly developed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy.
No,
it's the happy part of my life.
Yeah.
It's the nurturing part of my life. Yeah.
Good. Would you say you're still treasure hunting?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Life is a treasure hunt. And then we edit.
Yes.
We edit.
Sure.
You know, I go to France every year. I've been going for over 20 years to France, and before that Switzerland.
Yeah.
And so part of that is the brocantes, the outdoor antique markets, and in fact the dealers know me. They travel from one village to another, and they always see me, and they hold out things that I might like.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You've got them trained.
Yeah. But it's joyful. It's a joyful thing to do.
But you started out in Switzerland. How long ago was that? But you were.
I was in Switzerland in the late '80s.
Yes.
And my studio was an old boulangerie, and it was owned by the city, and I was able to rent it for a very low nominal fee. And but there was always crumbs around from the bakery, no matter how much I cleaned it. Yeah, there were always crumbs around.
Yeah.
But I started there, and I did very big, large abstract paintings, and I had a couple of shows in Bern.
Yeah. And
was developing, something of a name there, and then I moved to France.
To France?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in France were you?
Burgundy.
Oh yes.
Yeah, small village.
Yeah,
where I still go, and it's beautiful. The countryside nourishes me. The solitude is something I need desperately, and the nature.
Yes, sure. Yeah. And I know that Buddhism has played a very large part in your life, and I wonder how that's changed things for you in your artistic process.
Well, it's changed my life. Whatever changes my life has an effect on my work.
Of course.
So it doesn't matter what it is, good, bad, the ugly. It comes in and it comes out. Fortunately, it comes out. And I think it began in Tibet in 1985 when I was standing on the way to Shigatse from Lhasa, and I was standing in the Himalayas, and something strange happened. I can't articulate what happened, but from that moment on, I think my direction my Buddhist direction was established. And then I came back to Europe, and I met Thich Nhat Hanh, who became my teacher in I think it's 1993. I met him, and I took my vows with him, and I've been with him ever since. He gave me my Buddhist name, which I'm very happy about. And then it just became ingrained in me. I hadn't worked in squares or anything geometric for many years. I did touch on it many years ago, but I found it was not akin to how I was feeling. But I had a profound loss in my life, and I knew I needed to concentrate. And I felt that cutting squares and pasting them was a way to a meditative process, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I involved my photography, which at one time I almost gave everything up for photography. And so when I traveled, and I travel extensively to Asia, and India mainly.
Yes.
I work with my camera, so I'm always working. And this image came from India. I was there a year ago, and that's not the image, but it is the image.
Yes.
That's very Buddhist, huh? It is and it's not. But I was driving along in a village, in a crowded village, and I spotted this tent-like structure on the side of the road. And it had these beautiful worn grays and whites and tans, and I was just, stop the car, and I got out my camera and I shot a few shots of these, of the tent. And then when I got home, I decided, okay, I'm going to take the image, have it printed on canvas. This is printed on canvas. Cut it up into squares, and reassemble it. It's almost like I'm in a trance when I do this. Almost like a shaman. I'm directed by where the pieces go. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle almost. And then I don't know how the eye works, maybe color, maybe composition, but I think it's more than that somehow. And then I number them all. It's very tedious. It's very, it's tiring, but it's satisfying. And I'm in direct, no time, no thought, no thinking.
Just doing it.
And so this is one of them. This is the tent. And someone looked at it the other day and he said, there's a mountain in it. There's a triangle in it as you look. And I said, whoa!
That was the first thing I saw when I looked at it, actually.
I never saw that.
Isn't that interesting?
So this piece is called Boxed In, and that's how I was feeling with the grief. I found these boxes in Pézenas in the south of France, in an antique market I go to every year. And I bought, I don't know how many of them, 2 cartons full of. And the chair is usually my self-portrait. The chair and the environment is me. And so I am in the midst of construction or deconstruction in my home. And so everything is in boxes, so I guess that is related to that, plus how I was feeling boxed in. And then the ball on the chair it's always like a meditative kind of symbol for me, like just sitting in that chair and meditating. So for me, it has the elements of peace and chaos.
About your painting here.
This is a mixed media work. It was difficult to finally finish this work. I had to let it sit for a while because it, again, like I told you, it's about loss. But I realized before it's also about joyfulness. Being in Asia as much as I am, as the fan, although it's black and the piece is dark. Last year I decided to walk the Santiago.
Oh, did you?
Yes. I really drove a lot of it, but I walked some of it, but touched on every place, every point to try and resolve some of the grief that I was feeling. And along the way, it's called The Way, I always stop at cemeteries, and I saw these flowers in the dirt, in the path near the cemetery. And I always pick these up when I'm at cemeteries. If they're thrown in the garbage, I go through the garbage. And they reappear in my work. And it seemed to be very symbolic of what I was doing, being in a cemetery, collecting the discarded flowers, and then putting them into a very private environment for me. And the left is paper, Asian paper, which I usually alter with my own calligraphy. And that throws, it's very strange when I see an Asian person looking at it and they try and distinguish the writing and they see my hieroglyphics or my attempt at calligraphy. And they go, oh my God, they can't get it. But it's part of me manipulating what is into my own language, which is very abstract. And so it's compartmentalized, like I'm trying to compartmentalize my work, my life, and my loss, but it's all one.
It's all connected.
Interconnected. Thank you, Roz.
Thank you very much,
It was such
Roberta.
a pleasure to talk to you.
This was fun.
Yeah.